Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot, and in this video let's have a look at the Flight Sim Studios Embraer 175 again. At the beginning of 2023 there was quite a bit of trouble around this airplane due to false expectations raised by the adverts of the developer, but now it is a couple months later, so let's see how much the promised updates have actually improved the airplane. We're going to start by having a look into what's actually been done. So let's have a look at the Embraer roadmap over here, and we can see in the release notes that there is quite a bit of stuff that they have indeed released. And without even going to skip too much about those changelogs, which can be quite technical at times, let's just take the airplane out for a flight and see how that stuff is going to behave in the end. So this is the changelog that they're posting. A lot of stuff changing there indeed, which is good news. However, let's see if there is anything important in there. From my time beta testing aircraft, I can say that changelogs like these often look very nice, but how good they are, let's see about it. Interesting, by the way, that up here it says scheduled 13th of March. It is the 25th of March at the moment where I'm recording this, and at least looking at the version number, it seems this update is out already. Okay, good. So that is pretty much our look into the Embraer and into what they have done so far. Overall, I'll be honest with you, I did not read the changelog in too much detail. But what I'm going to do in this video is I am going to do a simple flight from A to B, in this case from Frankfurt to Amsterdam, and I'm going to follow the tutorial procedures exactly, and then we'll see how good or not the airplane is eventually going to work. Alright, so we've planned our flight, Frankfurt to Amsterdam, quick 50-minute flight, so let's go ahead. And as always, procedures exactly according to the manual, and I will say that this is the first flight I'm doing with it since I have used it 3 months ago. So, original release at the moment of this recording is about 3.5 months ago, so let's see what's improved there. Batteries on, ground power in use, APU, well, we don't need that yet on the ground here. Nav light on, logo light, it's daylight, we can keep it off, and emergency lights armed. Okay, according to the tutorial, that is exactly everything we needed to do. Looking around here, I believe you can also see it in the video, there is a notable drop of the frame rate still when I'm looking at the cockpit displays. Okay then, we still do not have any how to program the MCDU guide, so let's just go ahead and program it to the best of our abilities. So, the nav data is current, then route, origin Frankfurt, destination Echo Hotel Alpha Mike. Flight ID is going to be the KLM 1762. Okay, departure. Runway 25 center. We are going to do the Maroon 7 Mike departure on this one. Apply. Then, after passing Maroon, let me get you my sim toolkit in view so that you can watch along. So, Maroon, Yankee 152 APEC. Why did it... Ah, here's the airway, okay. Then Zulu 850 towards Hotel Mike Mike. Tango 281 Norku. And then Norco to Alpha arrival. Okay, arrival, runway, it's probably going to be the polder barn. But for our simplification purposes, yeah, you know what, we'll just enter that for now. ILS, approach runway 18 right. It's going to be the so-called transition if I'm not mistaken, but let's have a quick look. Oh, RTIP, okay. And we'll take the RTIP 1 Delta, and for the arrival, Norco 2 Alpha. Okay, apply that, thank you. Okay, performance in it, then takeoff and landing fuel. Weather is looking good everywhere, so I would say we take 3 tons for the takeoff and minus the trip and taxi, so 1.5 for the landing. 3/1. Oh no, I believe I have to enter 3,000. Okay, that's better. So, cruising altitude, flight level 320. 0 fuel weight. Well, let's actually go ahead and use the EFB real quick in order to enter that. So, let's see. Target 0 fuel weight is going to be 30.2. And this is still pounds. Okay, can we change that? Use metric units. Thank you. So, can I simply change that over here? 32, no, okay, I cannot type this. I believe I read you can actually change something there now. Okay, well then we are going to use the standard menu. That's a little bit disappointing. I thought they had added that by now. Okay, so we're looking at 30.2, in other words, just double that for the pounds, so give me something like 60 or so for the 0 fuel weight, and then with a fuel 3,000 kilograms, make that 6,000 pounds. In other words, 3,000 on each side. Okay, 3,000 each side, and then we're looking at a takeoff weight of 33 tons, so 66. In other words, we're going to use a little bit less payload here. Okay, that looks good. And just to be on the safe side, I believe I'm going to take a little bit more fuel here. So let's take 3,500 pounds fuel each side. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to fold that EFB. Here we go. Okay, so 0 fuel 26.6. And this seems to be kilos now, yeah. So 26,600 gives us a gross weight 29,700, and that is 29,800. Yep, that's close enough for me. Happy with that. 3.2 tons of fuel. We can definitely work on that. Okay then, let's go ahead and page 3 of 3. Well, and here we still can't change anything. Okay, so we gotta leave it at that. Okay then, performance, takeoff. So let's see what the current wind situation is. Frankfurt, 210 at 18. The runway is dry. Gross weight is roughly right. Next page. We do not have any. Can we derate? No, it doesn't look like it. Takeoff dataset? No, the derate options are still all grayed out. Nothing we can do here. Okay, so be it. In that case, that's our takeoff speeds, so we're just going to keep it at that. Okay. Still a notable frame rate drop as soon as all the displays come into view, but that's gotta be not our problem for now. Okay, so flight level 70 is going to be our initial climb, like this. We want an hectopascal altimeter today. Then we can already select the toga button down here. And V2 is 130. FMS speeds are still not available at this point. Okay, so speed 130. Fine, FMS is selected as enough data source. Then if we do a quick check along all those systems over here, I'm going to skip over all the checks that you are supposed to do here. If you're interested in how to fly this properly, or at least how close as properly you can actually fly this, I recommend watching the live stream I did with a real-life Embraer captain, Ethai, and actually I hope to be able to do something with him again one day. Okay, can we change that to hectopascals somehow? Probably not at the moment, but that's fine with me. Okay, and apart from that, it looks like we are pretty much finished. At least there's nothing more in the procedure guide that we're supposed to do here. Quick look into the checklist. Safety and power-up checklist. Flight tech checked, emergency equipment checked, maintenance status checked, GPU out, APU generator is in. Batteries on, fuel pumps, auto, emergency light, armed, wipers off. Hydraulic systems, all in auto, and hydraulic system electric pump A off, landing gear lever down, power plant switches off, landing gear lever, we had that, speed brake lever is up, thrust levers closed, batteries, we had those, sled flap lever is up and up, agrees with the position. Fire extinguisher panel checked, air conditioning and power established. Okay, that's the safety inspection checks complete. Then let's go ahead and start up the APU, and at the same time I'm going to request my pushback. And we can definitely turn those on. We are going to fly offline today. I don't want to fly this plane online for the first time that I'm using it in a while. Okay, where's the APU indication? Down here. It started already. Okay, that was real quick. That was really, really quick. But okay, fair enough for me. So, ground power can go. Can we remove that somewhere? Oh, doesn't look like it to me. Any on the options over here? Doesn't look like it. Okay. That's fair enough. Okay, I didn't enter my SimBrief username. That's probably the reason we couldn't request it. But that's fair enough. Okay, the line drawing of the SID actually looks quite alright. Left turn out, right turn out, and then up to the north. Is GSX doing anything? No. Okay, GSX is not doing anything. Fair enough. Okay then, our APU is running, then I would say before start checks down to the line. Pre-flight checks complete, fuel quantity, that's 3090 kilograms checked, MCDU set, crew oxygen checked, altimeter 1008. Second cross-checked. Oh, interesting. Looks like the altimeter indication on the standby is tied to the first officer down there. Can I change it up here as well? Oh, it's tied to the first officer's EFIS control panel. Interesting. Okay, flight instrument set, passenger signs on, takeoff briefing complete, before start checklist complete. Down to the line. Then, doors are all closed. Okay. Beacon on and before start checklist below the line. Seatbelt shoulder harness checked, takeoff performance set, auto brakes RTO, trim set, and centered, doors windows closed, beacon on, transponder. That's a good point actually. 2000. RA, wherever I needed to press that twice. And looks like Alt Off is actually still not available in here. Okay, so be it. Fair enough, so transponder on, parking, brake, off before start checklist complete, start the engines. We'll just do standard pushback here with Shift P, provided that works. Which it doesn't seem to do. Okay, lovely. So we've got no pushback available at all. Well, then we've got to start on stand. But that's fair enough for me. So starting engine number 1. And 2. The oil pressure indication is still wrong, as Ethai pointed out on our live stream. And 1. By the way, why do we have fuel indication of 3080? Didn't it used to be like 3150 in the EFB? That's interesting. Where did those 70 kilos go? Okay, good start engine number 1. Let's start engine number 2. A couple hydraulic messages here, but that should be alright at this stage. Let's see what the hydraulic panel says in the meantime. Okay, that's fine. Hydraulic 3A pump not on, that is intentionally. And that looks like we have 2 good engine starts. Okay, after start procedures, APU no longer needed. Off. A pump on. And flaps, we plan the flap to take off. Okay, in the meantime, as the flaps are coming out, let's do the flight control check. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudder, full left, full right, neutral. Okay, the flaps are out now. Then let's go ahead with the after start checklist. Flaps 2 set, APU off, hydraulic system 3A pump on, flight controls checked, and then taxi lights on. After start checklist complete. Okay, we've just got to turn out of the stand over here, so clear on the left and clear on the right. Brake released. Let's see how tight of a turning radius we can get here. But that looks like we are not going to smash our wings into anything. Is it me or is the nose wheel skidding a bit here? Yeah, look at that. Nose wheel animation doesn't really seem to match where the plane is going. This is definitely skidding. Also, look at the frame rate on the nav display over here, how you can see that stutter around. Okay, we're clear on the right. Runway 25 center is just over there. So it should be a rather short taxi here. Okay, we don't have any constraints in the FMC still, so we are just going to have to fly them manually. In other words, 200 knots for the first turn and thereafter 230 for the turn over there. And with that, I would say the takeoff briefing is pretty much reviewed, so let's do the B4 takeoff checklist. Cabin secured, takeoff data reviewed, ICAS checked, brake temperature checked. We'll check the takeoff config in a second, so let me just drive that left turn over here. Okay, takeoff config.
Takeoff okay.
That's takeoff okay. Alright, takeoff config checked, and then only the lights remain. So let's go ahead. Strobes on, landing lights on, ready to go. Okay, so toga mode is armed. They said that was quite an important one. Not sure if that is still the case, but I would assume so. And then we're going to use LNAV, which is also armed already, and thereafter level change once we engage the autopilot. Okay. Clear on the left, clear on the right. With that, we are ready to go. So, auto throttle armed, and take off. Okay, takeoff thrust set, 80 knots. B1, rotate. Oh, lovely. The low speed bar comes up and we are in the stall speed straight away, even though we used the takeoff speeds from the FMC. And we got a pull up warning there as well. Ground proximity. Okay, here's our flight director. Okay, autopilot on. The airplane is in level change, then let's start accelerating. I believe 10 knots above the green dot was what Ethai said, so let's go flaps 1. Okay, we've got the first turn, then we can do 230. Okay, flaps up. I'm in a higher level, let's go cruise straight away, which is going to be 320. Oh, that was a bit much. Okay, 320 is set, speed looks good. Then let's go ahead with the after takeoff checklist. Landing gear up, APU off, slats and flaps up, after takeoff checklist complete. The auto brake should have popped back to off as far as I remember. It didn't, okay. Okay, set standard. Set left and set right. Look at that, the standby instrument is bound to the first officer's altimeter in here. Okay, but that is looking quite alright. Passing flight level 100. Lights off. And looking outside, I don't really expect any turbulence. Fasten belts off. The plane is following the route quite nicely, but of course I'm keeping the speed restrictions as well, so I would kinda expect it to do that. It's funny, however, how it only shows the currently active segment in magenta and the rest of it in white. I wonder if the real one would do that. Don't really think so. Okay, we're passing the point that has the 230 restriction on it. Let's go up to nice and high climb speed. Something like 280, I believe, is realistic for this plane. We don't have VNAV in here, so we've just got to do whatever we can do. Let's do 280 then. And let's see if the plane can manage shortcuts. RPEG would be something that you could normally expect. So flight plan... We don't have any direct 2 key, do we? No, we don't. Okay, so flight plan, RPEG... Yeah, that doesn't seem to do a whole lot. Can we go direct anywhere? Or do we have to fly the entire... Ah, now it's done it. Okay. Still no filtering of any airports in place, by the way. We see everything with any grass runway over here, which is a little bit annoying. Let's just go ahead and get rid of the airports then. Oh, look at that. We have a basic VSD. That's nice to see. But no flight plan or anything on it, so it just seems to be very basic right now. But fair enough. Better have something than nothing, right? Why is it doing a left turn now? Let's see where this is going. Okay, it might just be correcting for some wind. We got some 50 knots coming from the left over here. But we don't seem to have anything indicating our current track on the ND. That's interesting. Normally, aircraft should have a track vector. But that's fine for me. Okay, we're climbing out nicely, but I want to try something. We used to have some huge problems with the autopilot if we left the level change mode on previous versions. Let's see if that got any better. In other words, let's go vertical speed and assume that ATC gives us a restriction for a moment, let's say 1000 feet a minute maximum. Let's go ahead and fly that. Look at how it lost almost 10 knots of speed there. But it's working to recapture that. Slowly but steadily. Seems to be working into the right direction. But at these altitudes you can't really expect it to capture a speed that fast. But let's play around with it. Let's go back to level change. Okay, level change, speed to 80. It is maintaining altitude to accelerate. Oh, look at auto throttle. How it's just added a lot more thrust than it previously used when we were in vertical speed mode. That might of course explain why we couldn't accelerate, if it just didn't use the full available thrust. Okay, that seems quite alright. Let's play with it a bit more and start accelerating a bit, let's say 300 knots. That was an okay-ish pitch down. At least the real 737 would definitely have pitched down slower in order to minimize the G-forces, but at least it didn't go too aggressive. Okay, let's see how it captures that. And 301 as indicated. Climbing nice. Let's reduce the target speed a bit. That's better than it used to be. The pitch up moment is alright, but that would still have been quite a huge G-force at these speeds. However, it is quite a bit better than it used to be in the early release version, I have to say. Okay, well that's fair enough for me. Let's just bring it back to 280. VNAV, of course, is still not available. The button is not clickable, but that is as expected. And apart from that, level change seems to be doing what it's supposed to do now, which is pretty good news, seeing that we previously had some issues there with the airplane just going into altitude hold whenever you pressed level change after you left it. Okay. Apart from that, we have the FPA mode. Let's see how that works. We've got a 2.4 degree pitch line drawn up here right now. That is what the airplane should follow. Flight director is a bit above that, it seems. Let's see how the flight path symbol is going to be positioned. Okay, the flight path symbol is quite accurate. The flight director is still out of place here, as that would be commanding a pitch up moment right now. So, in theory, whenever the airplane is flying on speed, the flight director, which is the magenta symbol, should be exactly inside the flight path symbol that we have over here. Which is, well, not the case. Okay, anyway, we go back to level change, let it go back to 280 knots, and then I would say that is enough torturing the autopilot for now. Let's try another direct. Just like in real life, once you're in upper airspace on a route like this, you will probably be sent directly to the FIR border. In our case, we are going to go direct to Naku. Ooh, what did it do now? Okay. No, that is definitely not right. Where's it trying to fly? Let's see real quick. Next waypoint, user. Okay, so it just reinserted the entire standard departure. Well, let's try that once more. Naku. Okay, better. But what route is it drawing here? Where is it drawing that route from? Oh, is it? It's drawing the route from the last waypoint in the FMS. So probably from the origin right now, I guess? Well, that's definitely not what it's supposed to do when you enter a direct. However, let's see the positive side of things here. We seem to have a more correct CDI indication over here right now in FMS mode. So that's something. Okay, can we somehow tell it to go directly to Naku? No, doesn't seem like it. Okay, so be it. Then we are just going to intercept that point over here. In any case, that is a bit of a problem there, because it basically means you cannot fly this airplane online. Because when you fly it online, and you are going to get directs, and ATC will be pretty unhappy if you refuse those directs. So yeah, probably still not capable of flying this online. At least it transitioned over to a mark hold correctly. So we are on mark hold 0.75 in the climb right now, as we can see. And we are slowly approaching the route again. Let's see what scale that CDI there actually is. So this got to be a 10-mile scale then, it seems. But like 3 miles from the route, yeah. That's 10 mile, that seems to be accurate for en route operations. Well, that's quite something. They have done some work, that's what we need to say. Let's see how good that thing is going to be at the end of the flight though. We've got one to go. So last time I flew it, the plane didn't level off properly. Let's see what it's going to do now. And looking at the VSD here, what's this? This should be my target altitude line. That's supposed to be at 32,000, not at 50,000? Something like that. Well, in any case, let's see how that's gonna behave. Okay, it transitioned into altitude mode. Pitching down a little bit early, maybe. But let's see about it. And look at how the auto throttle is losing speed there. because it just reduced the thrust for no reason. But let's see. This is definitely very, very slow, capturing the target altitude. And look at how the auto throttle once again struggles to regain the speed that it's supposed to use. Because you can see it over here, just not using the full available thrust. Okay, slowly but steadily we are intercepting the altitude. That is good. It didn't do that on my last live stream with it. But okay, at least it did now. Slowly working to recapture the speed, even though much slower than I would like it to. But hey, better slow than nothing, is it? It's something at least. It's something. Okay then, well, let's go ahead and start setting up for the arrival into Amsterdam. So, as always, using Sim Toolkit Pro for that, but let me move that a little bit, that you guys can still see how the auto throttle is working on re-intercepting the profile. So, yeah, for the runway it's probably going to be on 1.8 right. Well, realistically would land on 1.8 right. I don't want to play with the FMS now because I'm a little bit afraid of messing the entire route up. But, well, no, let's not play with it. We're going to take 1.8 right as we have originally planned. Note to myself, don't try not to portray those add-ons worse than they are. Don't do anything that a developer would call non-standard, like changing a runway at last moment. Okay, so frequencies 1101. Active both sides, courses 182 should be auto-tuned as far as I remember. Then the minimum is going to be 187. So we're going to use 190 over here. Okay, auto brakes. Let's use auto brakes low. And that brings up the landing gear indication. Okay, fair enough. Alright, and that should be roughly it for the setup. Except for that, do we have a working plan mode? So that we can skip through the different stages there. Doesn't really seem to look like it. Let's use waypoint Senate. And then maybe we can scroll through it. We can change the range. But that seems to be it, okay. Well, anyway, looking at this, that's what the route looks like. RTIP is flight level 100. That is the standard clearance that you can expect. NORCO level 260. Let's see if we can enter any of this. Slash 260. No. Slash 26,000 maybe? No. Just for fun, what if I insert a speed restriction as well? No. Okay, so we can't enter any restrictions in here. That is unfortunate. Okay, well then we've just got to manage that stuff manually. Now what I would normally use in order to do that is that little progress bar down here, because this will tell me like, okay, you have so many miles to the destination at that time, but this still seems to be bugged down here. Yeah, in other words, we've just got to keep it at doing that stuff ourselves. Well, anyway, NORCO flight level 260, so That means we need to descend 6,000 feet, so 18 nautical miles. So 18, let's say 20 miles prior to Norco, we are going to start our descent. And then if we use FPA mode in order to fly a simple 3-degree path, that should theoretically bring us down fairly nicely. So let's quickly recap my first impression from the departure to the en route part. And my very first impression here is that they have worked on the airplane. Some things have changed. Even though we are definitely still pending any of the big changes, which basically would mean the FMS or VNAV or stuff like that, we haven't seen any of those, but they have done quite a bit of work there on the smaller stuff, like for example bringing in the those autopilot modes that we already had to actually work a bit better. The only negative exception I saw there was the auto throttle that kept losing the speed while I was changing the vertical mode, since it just reduced thrust for no reason. But apart from that, at least those autopilot modes that we have seen so far seem to be working quite fine. For the FMS, well, we could program our stuff. There's been some problems on the takeoff in that we were immediately shown to be in the underspeed region as we rotated on the calculated takeoff speeds. Some bugs every here and there, but that is, well, honestly not that much a problem if you ask me. At least seeing that this is an early access product. And apart from that, yeah, we could fly our departure. We still had to manage everything manually, so all the automation that an Embraer would have in real life is missing at the moment. But at least I would call it flyable for offline operations. For online operations, no, due to the lack of directs and because the workload could just become a little bit too much. But yeah, that's my impression for now. So, can we see that they are working on it? Well, yes we can, but they definitely should, because they released another airplane in the meantime. They released the Tecnam 2006, like a month ago, so 2 months after the release of the Embraer. Which is something that I'm not 100% sure about if that was a good idea, because with that they are just showing us like, hey, you have paid us for the Embraer, but nonetheless we are working on other stuff as well, rather than getting the Embraer where we want it to be. But okay, enough of that. That is my first impression here of the Embraer from the departure. Let's see how the thing is going to act on the arrival. So we are now about 22 miles prior to Norco. Let's go ahead and start our descent. Initially we want to go down level 260. Okay, FPA. Oh, look at that. You can command to climb with the FPA mode, with the target altitude being lower. Nice. That should pretty certainly not be possible, but who knows. Okay, so 3-degree line is drawn. Let's see what the airplane is going to do. We're doing a ground speed of 420 times 5 means we should get a vertical speed in the region of 2,100 feet a minute. And indeed, we are. Okay, that's a positive surprise there. Even though the flight director is still giving incorrect commands, at least the flight path vector is at least on the 3-degree line, exactly where it's supposed to be. That used to be a bug in earlier versions as well. But they seem to have fixed that. And look at that, the level of line from the autopilot seems to be indicating, well, no, not correct. This should be about here, which it isn't. And of course we don't see any flight plan information on the VSD. Okay, let's go further down, flight level 100. Okay, lower 100 is set. Normally the VSD would be really nice now. If you set it to a range where you can see your destination airport, then you would just, you know, adjust the path here to lie right on the constraints you want to meet. And that would be a pretty nice feature. So, the speed has transitioned back to the 280 knots that I had previously commanded. Interesting thing is that the Mach number should have been higher, so I'm not sure how the Embraer works there, but I would imagine that when you are passing the crossover altitude, then the plane would, you know, transition between the Mach number and the indicated airspeed, but do that right on the speed where you were at the moment. Which unfortunately didn't happen over here. Anyway, let's speed this up a little bit. Give me 300 knots, please. Interesting, now the auto throttle used like 95%, contrary to earlier where it only used like 85% when it was supposed to speed up. Well, at least it's doing what it's supposed to do. That's good news for sure. So, we're supposed to reach RTIP at level 100. Let's see, RTIP is just over here, so 50 miles out. We need to lose 15,000 feet, which normally means 45 miles. In other words, if we use a little bit less than a 3-degree descent over here, that should bring us down nicely. Let's use 2.5. Here we go. Oops, here we go. 2.5 set. Do we have any range to altitude, Banana? No, we don't. Okay. So normally if you just put the range to altitude Banana on here, and the lack of the presence of any VNAVs, that would be my go-to tools to use here in order to do that. But well, we don't seem to have those available to us right now, so we've just got to live with that. Okay, descent checklist. Lights and seatbelt signs, set. Altimeter, set. Landing data, reviewed. Auto brake, low. Seatbelt and shoulder harness, checked. Approach briefing, complete. Descent checklist, complete. So obviously we're not going to fly it all the way down, all the way out like this, but we will simply take a shortcut over here. In real life, after RTIP, they usually send you direct Sierra Papa Lima, and then you are going to get radar vectors eventually. There might be Sierra Papa Yankee as well for the direct. I kind of keep confusing all those Sierra Papa something VORs. Actually, it's not just me confusing it. I've had a case in real life when we've been flying from London over to Germany, and the controller sent us direct to Spikebor, but he wanted us at Sprimont. And obviously, when we turned like 45 degrees to the left, he was like, "Where are you going?" "We're in Spikebor, Sierra Papa Yankee." "Oh, I wanted you at Sierra Papa Lima, or Sierra Papa India or something." "Okay, yeah." That was interesting. Luckily, nothing happened out of it, so that's nothing to be concerned about. But nonetheless, it goes to show how all those VORs can be a little bit confusing over here. Unfortunately, we are missing all the constraints on the star over here. I'm pretty sure there would be some speed limits. Well, RTIP is 250 knots, I know that. And let's see, RTIP is like 30 miles away. We need to lose 10,000 feet, so roughly 3 degrees. That's good. Then back to 3 degrees on the FPA mode. Okay, descend nicely. 25 miles to run towards R-tip. We need to descend 16.5. Oh, sorry, 6.5. That means roughly 15, 18 miles. So we've got a light level segment there, which we can use to lose our speed to go back to 250 knots. So that seems quite alright for me. Quick look on the fuel usage down here, since in the last stream we used quite a bit too much, but we're supposed to use roughly 1,500 kilograms, and we have used, well, 1,100 so far, so that is quite alright actually. In other words, when we are getting down, we're looking at, well, hopefully quite a spot on fuel usage. That would be very nice, since last time we flew ourselves pretty much into the reserves. But anything that works is good for us. Really a pity that the distance to destination and the time to destination here is not working. That's really a pity, because that would be a very useful tool. $16 miles to run, we need 10.5 to get down. Okay, so that leaves us exactly the 5 miles. By the way, another quick cross-check between the FPA mode, because, as said in the earlier livestream, that didn't work. So, 318 knots, 3-degree descent, that's 318 times 5 for the expected rate of descent. So that should be 1,600 feet a minute. We're doing 1,700. Yeah, that is alright. I mean, within 100 feet a minute, that is, the accuracy of real autopilots as well. Don't expect those things to be perfect machines, they definitely are not. What I do find interesting, however, is that you need a lot of thrust here in order to maintain that 3-degree descent path. It's quite a lot of thrust, actually. And just for the sake of it, let's bring it into level change and see what rate the plane would achieve in idle thrust here. Ouch. 10-degree pitch down. 7.5 to keep it level. Look at that. Are we doing an emergency descent here? That's, well, probably not what we wanted to see. And I kind of doubt that the real Embraer would do that. I mean, the thing would have to have a huge amount of drag if it really descended that quickly at 300 knots and that steeply. Which is something that I don't really expect the plane to have. But fair enough for us. Also look at that, in idle thrust. We are losing speed while we're doing 1,800 feet a minute with the nose like 2.5 degrees below the horizon. That is, and where is it flying right now? Where is it turning? Come on, airplane, I didn't play around with the, Okay, I'll just let it fly for now, because I want to see where it's going. But let's go vertical speed and give me some 500 feet a minute or so. I'll just let it do that for a second, because I want to know where the plane is going. It's definitely still in LNAV. Heading 320. Anything in there that would warrant that heading? Winyard 292. Yeah, that would look like that. Oh, now it's noticed. Now it's turning left again. That's interesting for sure. That's definitely interesting for sure. So how is it going to re-intercept? Let's watch this. Let's just sit here and enjoy the show. Okay, 30-degree intercept to the path. That is all right. Well, as alright as can be after you've just left the approach track. It's something at least, it's something. Watch the anti-ice valves operating automatically there. But it said something in the changelog that the anti-ice is still a work in progress. Okay, so below 100, let's quickly put those lights on. So, is it gonna intercept? To intercept or not intercept? That is the question. And in the meantime, we can go down to an altitude of 2,000 feet, which is where we intercept the ILS from, here at Amsterdam. Set 2,000 feet is checked. Okay, set altimeter 1,000. That's taking ages. Here, all those clicks I'm doing on it until it changes by hectopascal. That's really slow. Okay, can we do the standby over here? Yes, we can. And we're changing the first officer's display with it. Okay. Well, that's a way to do it, I suppose. Okay, set. Altimeter 1000 is checked. And we are intercepting the path again. Well, okay. I have absolutely no idea why it left that path in first place, but at least it found its way back under the magenta line. Obviously, if the direct function would have worked correctly after it made that right turn, I would simply have entered a direct winya and pretty much solved the problem with that, but you can't have it all, I suppose. Okay, well, I've seen enough of the automatics. Let's do a little bit manual handling here. So, heading select. Nav source to VOR localizer. Runway course should be 182. And as far as I remember, it should have auto-tuned that. Okay, 182 selected. Lock 1. 110.1 is the correct frequency. Then we can do a quick frisk check. Frequencies 10.1. Don't have any rings. Idents. Victor Papa Bravo is correct. Standby instruments. Okay, ILS button is not clickable. Standby instruments set, and the courses. Why did this change? Oh god. Okay, courses 182, and that's our frisk complete. Don't have any approach checklist in here, so I guess we are good to go. Now, of course, the range to altitude arc would be something really useful in order to time our descent here, but let's see about it. Also, we can quickly clean up the flight plan, so Alpha Mike 608 as inbound waypoint should work quite good. Invalid action arrival. Okay. What if I put it here? No. Can we change this at all? No. Okay. Lovely, we can't insert any directs in here. Well, I guess that probably means that missed approach guidance is not available as well then. Well, we can live with that. Okay, left turn heading 250. That should bring us a little bit closer to the airport. Oh wow, I expected a bit more of a sound change when I go to the outside. I mean, the external model is looking really good. I wish the entire airplane was like that. Would be such a nice plane to fly. It really would be such a nice plane to fly. But I guess we gotta live with whatever we have then. Another 2,000 feet to run almost. Let's do 300 feet a minute, then we can still do our CDA. I'm going to keep the speed up high until we pretty much are almost about to intercept our center line. 16 miles to run right now. 15. Okay, glide slope alive. That is usually a good indication to start reducing speed slowly. So let's start bringing it back to green dot. FMS speeds are unfortunately not available at this moment. And then we'll self-maneuver onto a nice 30-degree intercept. And reaching that, we are going to on the approach mode, see what happens. Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked. "180 knots, looks good initially. Roughly the green dot. Yep, like that. Okay, flaps 2. And left turn heading 210, cleared ILS 18 right. Okay, heading 210 we have. Approach armed, localizer glide slope are armed. Okay, we're doing a ground speed here of 170 knots, so something like 900 feet a minute in order to parallel that glide slope. Let's do 1,000 actually. Should be doing good. Localizer alive. Even though coming in very slowly, but that's alright for me. Why is it decreasing the rate of descent right now? Come on, keep descending please. Don't mess this up please. It went into altitude mode. Why? That is of course a pain. Now we've got to intercept from above. Okay, with that we've got to do something. Let's start reducing airspeed. Why is it pitching up again? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, gear down. Flap 3. And is the localizer just going to the right again? It used to be further left, didn't it? Interesting. So, come on airplane. Do me a nice glide slope intercept, please. Okay, flaps 4. Altitude capture mode. Why? We are 800 above the target. And there's our runway. Okay, I'm drifting a little bit closer to the runway here than I would like to, but that's gonna be fine. Okay, flaps full. Okay, localizer alive. And it goes right through the localizer without capturing. Nice, okay. Autopilot off, then we do that stuff ourselves. That close to the ground, I can't be bothered fiddling with it. Okay, set Mr. Approach altitude, 2,000 feet.
1,000.
Check. Okay, 2,000 feet set. The positive thing, compared to the last time I flew this airplane, however, is that at least this time the localizer and glide slope scales are actually working. Before landing checklist, flight attendants notified, landing gear down 3 green, flaps set, landing lights on. Landing checklist complete. Okay, 500 continue.
400. 300. 200.
Still 38 knots of wind coming from the right hand side here. That's how it's fun to fly.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. A bit positive, but we are on the ground. Okay, auto brake off, reverse off. That was quite a fast deceleration here. Down to 45 knots already, but with that headwind, what did you expect? 27 knots crosswind right now. Okay, well, we're on the ground, so let's go ahead and taxi to the apron real quick. This should only take some 10 minutes or so here landing on the polder barn. So if you want to see how this thing taxis, especially on single engine taxi, then take a good look at the coming portion of the taxi. Otherwise, I see you around at the gate for the final feedback then for the moment. So you can easily skip forward like 10-15 minutes if you don't want to see the entire taxi over here now. But I promise I'm going to make it as quick as possible. 30 knots ground speed is not the maximum, but the target right now. And actually, if the thing goes faster, then I might take it faster. No, just joking. We'll keep it at 30 knots. As is designed. Okay, so I'm just about going to take it over here to the left then, and as soon as we are on the main taxiway, that's where we will do the cleanup work then. Interesting that we got taxiway center line lights on that access road to the left over there. Why not? Look at that windsock there on the right side. That's quite a bit of wind. No wonder that we struggled a little bit keeping the center line at first. Okay, that's a large turn here. We can do that without decelerating too much. Okay then.
No takeoff. Left. Trim.
I didn't intend to take off. But yeah, thanks for telling me. Okay, so as we remember from the real-life Embraer Pilot Ethai on the previous live stream, they usually do single-engine taxi in the Embraer because it simply saves quite a bit of fuel. So let's go ahead and do the very same over here and see how the airplane handles on a single-engine taxi. So number 2, stop. Engine number 2 is shutting down. So let's see how the airplane performance is going to be like this. Right now it's holding a nice 32 knots, steady over here. Probably slightly reducing, 31 now, but that is absolutely fine. Gonna keep the strobe lights on as we're about to cross runway 18 center. So 29 knots. Yeah, it's losing speed very slowly, but that is something I would judge quite acceptable. This is actually quite a similar ground handling performance to our 737 when we go single-engine taxi. It loses a little bit of speed, but you can nicely keep it at the target. Let's see how that's going to work. Let's add a bit of thrust on the number 1, see if we can accelerate again. Yep. Okay then, clear left and clear right. Okay, next taxiway to the right. Luckily the taxiways are all pretty large over here, so I can keep the plane at a little bit higher speed, which is something that I would not do in real life, of course. If it says 90-degree turn, 10 knots in the real manual, then that's of course what we would do. But if it means we can save a little bit of time while we are taxiing here, then that's something I absolutely appreciate. Let's also use the moment to read the after landing checklist. Lights, set, flaps, up, trim. Trying to get that centered again. Here we go, 4 units and centered, and APU start, we are going to delay that a little bit. So it takes a little while to accelerate the plane as we're doing single engine taxi, but once again that is absolutely expected as well. Okay then, next to the left. And then we're almost at the terminal already. So now it's taking a little bit of time to accelerate the plane. Let's use a tiny bit more thrust, but not above 50. See how the effect of that is. And indeed, now we're gaining speed nicely. I don't like going above 40%, you're not supposed to do it. But you know the deal. If you need to accelerate and there's nothing around, then the good thing is the plane is so small that our engines are definitely hanging above the middle of the taxiway here, unlike in some heavy aircraft where the engines might be over the grass and then you, in some cases, wouldn't even want to go above idle thrust with it. Okay, let's take one of the stands on the right side there, start the APU. Okay, this looks like a couple of heavy stands here, but for the purpose of this video, that shall be it, and we are gonna park right here. Okay, that looks good to me. Taxi light off. And here we are, park and brake is set, APU is available, engine number 1 cut off. Okay, I would love to do a correct shutdown procedure. Unfortunately, the developer seems to think that a flight ends when the airplane lands, so the procedure guide just stops on landing, it doesn't have anything more. So let's just go by ourselves here. Transponder, standby. Trucks and brakes set, engines off, and 3A pump off. The engines are below 20% N2. Beacon off. Signs off. Okay, shutdown checklist. Transponder off, trucks and brakes set, engines off, hydraulic 3A pump off, shutdown checklist complete. Okay, that's it. We have made it all the way towards Amsterdam. So then, what is my feedback on the Sim Studios Embraer after about 3.5 months-ish? Well, most importantly here, they did make some progress. So that's probably the most important thing here. They did make some progress with it. You can see how the airplane is getting more usable, even though in really small steps. So the point at which we see the airplane right now is still far beyond any beta that I have previously picked up. So even when I started beta testing in other companies, the airplane was in a better shape than the Embraer is right now. You can see that with the plane turning off the course, not intercepting the ILS and stuff like that. So in other words, this is still a very, very, very early access state. Indeed, it is somewhere around late alpha state maybe, at least based on my experience beta testing flights and products for the last 10 years. Well, in any case, let's look at the more positive sides, and the most important thing I can notice here is that there is progress being made. Now, I don't want to judge how long it might take for the airplane to get to a shape where we would really say that it is good and flyable, because right now it is, well, not. We can get it from A to B, but as soon as we try to go direct, or well, the autopilot couldn't fly in ILS, that basically says it all. Okay, also, we are still missing the custom FMS at the moment, which Flight Sim Studios on their website says is really going to be one of the primary features there for a coming update. So if we have a look into their roadmap once more, then we can see what they plan and what they don't plan. And the important thing to take away over here is that if we look into a couple of the release notes over here, then we get some comprehensive descriptions that we can click on. And if we do that, we basically get the top community requests down here. And vertical navigation, waiting for backend FMS code to complete. Speed altitude constraints, waiting for FMS. MCDU, EFB, flight plan, and weight import, okay, is scheduled, rest to follow later. FMS, airspeed mode, waiting for FMS. Holdings, FMS. Terrain radar, weather radar under evaluation. Go around mode, waiting for custom autopilot implementation. GPWS already available, well, even though it's absolutely messed up on our departure. Anyway, you can see the main thing I want to say here, that the fixes we are seeing at the moment are very basic fixes. So there is a lot that still needs improvement. And with that in mind, it is going to take years for this airplane to reach a state where we would say, like, okay, this is now a well-done airplane. It is going to take years. We don't have to come up with any false expectations here. A product at this stage is going to take years to complete. And I'm not talking about 1 year, I'm more talking about 2 years, 3 years, something like that. That is at least the experience that I have made in beta testing over the past 10 years in flight simulation. So I don't want to spoil your hopes, but we can see improvements being made, but we can also see how this thing is still a pretty default airplane at the moment. Okay, that shall be it for today's video. I hope that you've enjoyed this one. Do let me know what you think about it, and if you think my assessment was fair, or if you think that I have dramatized a little bit here. In any case, I'm looking forward to read your comments below this video. Also like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I know that half of my viewers are still not subscribed to the channel. And finally, if you want to support what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Or I would love to see you become a channel member, which in business class is going to get you exclusive early access to new videos, and in first class membership even the ability to request your own. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again very soon.